Hello, everybody. This is Haley Gray with Leadership Girl, and I am so happy to be with you here today. I am a business coach and a sales and marketing strategist, and my goal is to help you grow your business. And part of doing that, I have been bringing on a series of amazing experts, and we are talking about a variety of different topics. Today's expert is the phenomenal Leslie Flowers, and I am so glad to have you here. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, Haley. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you. So welcome. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Oh, that's really interesting. What do I do? Well, I'll tell you. My work is teaching women in business the ancient principles of success and universal law that actually make up the context for success today, to make them smarter and be clued in as to what actually makes up success today. It's always been built on universal law and principles, but we as women just never learned them. There was never any need to. So my work is all about phrasing it in such a way that women in 21st century business can use these ancient principles of success to ask for what they deserve and get paid.
Fantastic. And, I think it's important to say that, you're asking for what you deserve, because so many times I know I've made this mistake. We as women just assume that we're going to get paid what we should be paid.
No.
And it doesn't work that way at all.
That's right. Well, and we assume we're getting what we deserve, but we're not being paid based on our ability. Mm-hmm. You see, so we're capable as our male counterparts when we're doing equal positions and equal jobs. The difference between men and women are that women don't believe they deserve more. Is that you or me, dear?
That is my daughter who is ringing, or one of my children who is ringing back here.
Oh.
Yes, my cell phone is right next to me, and it is on stun. So, that's not, that is my child who is ringing. And I think that it's important to say, to point out how the standards of success and leadership are very different, and how women have approached what success means is very different from men as well.
Yes.
And, it's everything. We've talked in the past about, things that women do to cause themselves to not be heard.
Correct. And it's because they come into 21st century business with a set of skills that has worked for 200 generations in the home, but they are not necessarily the same behavioral skills required to be a success in business.
Exactly.
It's just like if men come home to be house husbands, those who have done it will tell you that there's a learning curve. Mm-hmm. Well, the principles and laws that make up the current context for being successful in business have been used by men for so long mm-hmm. that they're inherent.
Right.
In other words, men don't use them to influence because it's a natural thing for them, such as after being in corporate for 45 years, men will appear to automatically step up for a job or a task, even if they're not qualified. But their natural instinct is they have the confidence and they're going to go for it. Now, actually what happens in business, the female staff ends up finishing up the job, but that's another whole story, right?
Right, exactly.
We don't have that. And why would we? We've only been in business for 3 decades, really. So why would we step up? We wouldn't. And so therein lies the problem. While we're able, we don't have the confidence and the belief in our own worth
Mm-hmm.
to actually ask. Because when we do ask, very often we are met with a yes.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Hi, Benita. Good to see you. And she said, hi, ladies. You know, and I think that the cool thing here is that, you know, when we ask for it, we get it. But a lot of times, you know, the other thing we do a lot, and I know I have done this myself, is that we do step up. We do step into the void. We clean up the mess, and then we let the guy take credit for it. Oh, it was nothing. No big deal. I just spent 80 hours a week working to clean up the disaster that he made, but it was no big deal.
But see, that is how we keep the peace and manage families for 200 generations. We're the nurturers. We're the peacekeepers. We're not trying to make ourselves shine or any one person. In fact, you know, in my family, if I miscalculated how much, let's say meat, for example, was there, or somebody took too much, I, with no problem, would take the last half piece. I was, or nothing, or, you know, just to the sides. I always got something. But that is the nature of being a homemaker and a home manager, keeping everybody a winner. In business, you have to shine at what you do, right? So it has to be, it's very different. Let's just put it that way. There's a different set of skills, and women can grow this confidence, because confidence is a muscle that grows in direct proportion to its use. And over the last several years, working with women specifically in a mastermind, what I have discovered is how confidence is built. It's built through reaching small and large goals or intentions in spaced consecutive intervals over time. Every task that we complete, that we articulate, helps build the muscle. These are like calf raises, right? So that is how the muscle of confidence. So every time you do it, oh, I did it. And not only did I do it, but I was really good at it, right? And so then you build that muscle of confidence, and pretty soon you're out there asking for the world, right? Because you believe, you have perfect faith.
Yes, exactly.
That when you ask, you're going to get. Yes.
Right, exactly. And, you know, the learning to ask is maybe one of the hardest things to learn.
Yes.
And taking that, you know, opportunity to step up and ask for it, you know.
But we're afraid that they're going to say no.
And what happens if they say no, right? But, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
What happens if somebody says no? What about that rejection?
Well, my friend and colleague Diana Needham, she always says this: the answer is always no unless you ask.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
but it takes something to ask, though. It's scary.
Absolutely.
It is scary. So when you do it, just know, ladies, that you are one of about 2 or 3 women out of 100 that actually has the chutzpah to do that. So we try to pat yourself on the back when you do it.
Well, and I'm hoping that we manage to start changing that so that it's not 2 or 3 out of 100. So it's, you know, 85 out of 100 who really do have that chutzpah to, you know, ask for what you want. Tell us.
Yes, and it's even more than what you want, because you already have the ability and the capability. So
absolutely.
You're asking for really what you deserve.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No question. Yeah. And I agree wholeheartedly. You know, we as women, you know, and this is exactly to your point, will not apply for a position until we think that we are 100% qualified for it. And, you know, maybe we'll go down to 75 to 80%. A man in the same position, if he meets 30 to 50% of the qualifications on it, is applying for that position, which is why you have seen, or why I've personally experienced well, darn it, he's a bozo and he freaking got that position
Well, and he not only did, because he did something about it, and while you're holding back thinking that you need to have 75, 85, or 90%, so first of all, if you're not even in the game, you
Mm-hmm.
have no gripe, right? I
Right.
mean, you have a responsibility too. But remember, the reason he's done that is because he's done that before, and it's been successful. And so he has built his muscle of confidence over
Mm-hmm.
and above by doing it, getting the job, doing it, getting this, getting
Mm-hmm.
the project, right? So it works the same for women and men. The thing is, they have a head start because inherently they're going to step up,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they are also going through the same thing. Now, I predict that within, and this has to be done one person at a time or one mastermind at a time. I am not waiting for the government to send down the money, right?
Right.
I mean, I want them to do equal pay and all that. But in our state, Haley, the last report, statistics say that it will be 2054 before the wage gap closes or evens out. Well, I'm thinking to myself, I've worked all my life. I have beautiful grandchildren, and I'll have great grandchildren, and they'll be fixing me lunch when I'm over 100. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want beefaroni or macaroni and cheese. And that is what I will get if that wage gap doesn't close. I prefer bacon wrapped scallops for my lunch. So
Absolutely.
that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this too. It's for all of us as we get older, right? So that our
Right.
kids will take care of us.
Well, and the thing about that wage gap and that earning gap, pay gap, what we're charging gap, is that it has a long-term cumulative effect. It's not just the fact that there is a 30% gap today, but if you look at the difference in the total amount of income that you have coming in, 70, you're making 70% plus that 70% of it. And the gap between your total earning over your lifetime just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it makes a massive difference. And then add into the fact that we as women tend to live longer, and it is the beefaroni problem.
Well, and add into the fact the biggest elephant in the room, frankly, is that women with children are the largest segment of that are impoverished in our country. And with the divorce rate at 75%, that's including first and second marriages, you have got women out there raising families on, in our state, 17.6% less than men. Now, people say, well, what about realtors and what about sales? That doesn't count. This is an overall, right, an average, what is the economic status of women for doing the same job in the same company, if you will.
Absolutely.
And so when you think about that, it's a struggle. Think about how much money you have to have. And I was married for years. And so when I started my business, I was working 30 hours a week and I was married. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of women, they don't know how to do a business or start a business. And many of them play mm-hmm. at being in business, mm-hmm. especially if they have another income, which that's fine if they have that, more power to them, right? I'm happy for you that you have that. But think about the numbers of women who are out there on their own, middle-aged women like myself, kids are all grown and gone. Your skills, it's hard to keep those skills up or challenging. So it's, for me, my work ever since the fall of 2013, woman by woman, group by group, is to build confidence through learning and growing in awareness of your infinite potential, right? Is for them to be able to ask for what they deserve, to crush the wage gap. My personal goal is 2025. So that's 8 years. And if everybody does and keeps moving forward, it's possible. Mm-hmm. Then it'll be bacon wrapped scallops.
It'll be bacon wrapped scallops for all of us. Absolutely. And one of the things we were talking about before we went live is about goal setting and how, SMART goals may not be so smart in every case.
Yeah. You want me to share about that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So one of the areas of mastery is achievement. And I teach Think and Grow Rich in the Principles of Success. And I'm an unusual woman in that I have 12,000 hours teaching it along with all my other areas that I've been working on for 20 years in personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what it takes to achieve. And in order to grow your confidence, there are certain benchmarks in setting a goal. There are certain things that you do to influence the outcome, to have your best shot at achievement. And honestly, it's not taught anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And there's often resentment because, we were told to set a goal because someone else said we should. And the word goal has a nasty taste for some people. So I actually equivocate goals, purpose, and intention. Mm-hmm. They're all the same. It's something you want, right?
What is that end result?
That's exactly right. You can use whichever word appeals to you. Now, what happens is all we had was SMART goals. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, that came from a magazine, a psychology magazine, to use an article to use SMART goals. Someone came up with it to keep workers on task during the week. And we didn't have anything else. So now all you hear, or at least not so much anymore, but SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Boy, that sounds good. The thing is there's no great goal that has ever been achieved using SMART goals, because there are two elements in that, achievable and realistic, that in reality, when you set a goal, it's not supposed to be achievable or easily achievable, and it's not supposed to be realistic, because the purpose of a goal is to motivate you into action. The way SMART goals work, at least this is how, at first I didn't like them. I was mad at them because I knew people were not achieving their goals. Less than 5% of people ever achieve their goals consistently, and that's what it's all about. I don't want haphazard success, right? I don't want a haphazard windfall. I want consistent successes. So, but finally I relaxed and I did a little more research, Haley. And what I realized is in my own masterminds, we run goals by the quarter. Mm-hmm. SMART goals are perfect for when you lay out the tasks required in a quarter to reach that goal. Mm-hmm. The SMART goals are exactly what you would use to check off and achieve everything required each week to reach that goal. And every one of those checks is that calf raise of building confidence, right?
Absolutely.
So if you try to use SMART goals for a big dream or even a quarterly dream, X amount of customers,
right,
over and above, it won't work, because if it's achievable and realistic, you would have already done it. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
And it's not inspiring and it's not motivating. So there is a place for SMART goals, but most people, and one of the things that I love doing is educating people, and women in particular, about the benchmarks. Listen, women are really smart. Once I tell them this stuff, they go to town. The thing is when we're confused, we don't take any action. So if we don't understand why we continue to go to the gym January every year with everybody else, right? In January, you can't get on a machine, right? And you're annoyed. In February, you can get on a machine. You got someone on either side you can talk to. In March, there ain't a soul there. And then the next year, it starts again. If you're fed up with that, all that's missing for you is a little bit of information that you were unaware of. No one's aware of it, really. Mm-hmm. Very few people do. And I have found that women really step up. Once they're clear on exactly what are the parameters for setting a goal that they will achieve and fall in love with and have the best shot at reaching, they're winners.
Right. And, and it's amazing how when we set our minds to it and we set a task in front of us, you don't really know what you can accomplish until you try for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you can do so much more than you think you can.
Yeah, and actually, once you start going for it,
mm-hmm.
because I believe that the universe and God conspires for you to have everything you want and to live abundantly,
Absolutely.
As long as you're not violating the rights of someone else, you'll find that people and opportunities will show up that were unexpected.
Absolutely.
And you expecting them, that will actually move you toward what it is you want. And you go, well, now that's a coincidence, but it isn't.
Right. Well, and when you start opening yourself up to those possibilities and those opportunities, and understand that it's not like a straightforward linear path, that you may be zigging and zagging a bit, but those opportunities will come. And when they do, it is amazing. I mean, it's just sending chills down my spine, because I've had personally, so many opportunities, like working with you and working with some other people that I've been collaborating with. And, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. Because, that was one of my stated intentions for this year was I am going to find joint ventures and partnerships and people that I can trust to partner with, and who I can help grow their business and they can help me grow mine, and we can make this a win-win-win, because I believe in the multiplicative effect. It's almost exponential growth. It's not just additive, but really truly exponential. And it's that when you open yourself up to it and you start moving towards it, that it starts happening. I'll never forget last year at Accelerate when you were speaking, and you said something that has stuck with me, and I have repeated it several times. The law of attraction, is great. But, when you are sitting on the couch, your goals are moving towards you approximately as fast as you are moving towards them. So if you're sitting on the couch, they're sitting on their couch too.
So is the goal.
And so is your goal, right?
That's
and
right.
if you are walking towards your goals, then they are walking towards you. And if they are running towards you, and you're running towards them, then you come to each other so much faster. And
that's right.
It is crazy how fast, you can achieve things when you pull out those running shoes and you start going for it. That has totally stuck with me.
I'm glad, because the concept is what you want is moving toward you at the same velocity you're moving toward it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same vibration. So if you don't want to get a job, or you don't believe there's a job, and you drive yourself to a job, right, for an interview, and you don't believe that they're going to hire you, they're not going to hire you.
Absolutely.
But if you say to yourself on the way in, these people have been waiting for me. I have the skills. In fact, when they see me, they're going to say, where have you been? We've been looking for you. And when you do this, what you do is start to feel good. And that raises your vibration. And people like it. And so then when you go in for the to apply for the job, you have a good shot at getting it. Whereas before, so however you're being is how other people are going to be. You'll notice if you go into a networking group, and if you can watch this happen, if you're feeling low, people who are feeling low will be attracted to you.
Yes.
And if you're really feeling great, you'll notice that all the really A types are all around you. And that is part of the law of attraction. I think the most important thing about all of this that we're talking about, and particularly what you said, Haley, is the way you grow in awareness is to be able to stop and recognize that this wasn't a coincidence, that you really are the source. And if you move with alacrity, the universe will move also with alacrity to give you what it is you want. And it works for everyone all the time. The problem is we don't really, my work is in distinguishing how you repeat it and reproduce it so you purposely create beliefs and results based on those beliefs, right?
Right.
But most people don't know how to do this, so it becomes haphazard. Then it gets confusing. Then they just give up, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I said, the important thing is that when you notice these things and people show up, it's not a coincidence. Just regard. Oh, I got it. Okay, you're observing. Oh, get your own social proof for these things. And that's the best way rather than listening to other people. Right? And you have to stop and pause and go, oh, I love it.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's that whole thing where we're, setting goals and moving towards them, and it really is true. The people you surround yourself with, and, those people are going to mirror what the rest of your life looks like. And you are choosing to, surround yourself a lot of times with these people. So think about, okay, so I'm around a bunch of people that I consider to be a bunch of losers. Okay, so what does that mean? What does that mean I'm attracting, right? Versus people that are highly successful. So how do you attract other successful people in and, really focus on that whole attraction thing?
Well, you hit on something really important here, and this is another concept that I adopted years ago. I am the mirror of your greatness, and you are the mirror of mine. And in my programs, there are certain commitments that we make. One of the biggest issues I've found working with women, particularly since 2013, is that we don't trust each other.
That's true.
And if it takes one woman to undermine another woman in a group, that deflates that confidence that she's built. So one of the things that I figured out is exactly how to crack the nut on trust with women, and it has to do with building a muscle of purposely looking for the greatness in other people.
Yes.
It's always there. The problem is that we are always looking for the negative. Society has us looking, oh, look, she needs to lose some weight, or look, he needs a haircut, or his shoes don't match, or whatever. It's always something negative, right? And so that's our habit. So in my work, we create a new belief and a new habit, which only allows us to look for the greatness. And in coaching, it's called reframing. It's based on the law of polarity, which says that for every good, there's a bad. It's the devil angel kind of thing that we've heard for years. So even if there's something I really don't like, if I stop a minute, I can find something good about it. And finding something good about a person or a thing raises your vibration again. You feel happy, right? So the longer you can stay in that state, right? So I'm not saying that people that I work with don't have ups and downs, right? But the thing is that we all do. But if you're growing in awareness of your infinite potential, you're riding the ups and downs, because that's really the law of rhythm. And so what you learn is when you're in a low, there has to be a matching high. The only difference between myself and other people is that when I get in the low, really brief, because I know immediately based on the law that there's something really big coming, right? So I immediately start looking for it and expecting it, and it shows up. So the trick is catch yourself. It's normal. But for every low that you have, you will have a matching high, either before the low or after. It's going like this. That kind of visualization or imagery allows you to pick yourself up instantly and start looking for something else.
Right.
Yeah. And as Les Brown, I remember he said one time, if you find yourself in hell, keep moving your feet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in a low point, just look up and start walking, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that the next big thing will be on its way to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of times you really do get these tremendous lows right before a massive breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I think it's important to say it happens to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know my husband thinks that I'm always so chipper and that I'm always so positive, and I try to, and I really focus on trying to find the positive in really lousy situations at times. But, the fact is we all have those moments. And, it's just that faith that there is something better coming, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
That's right.
And, it can be being so broke that you are literally counting out the change in the change jars and going, searching through the change, trying to find stuff between the cushions of your couch. And, and figuring out if you're going to be able to buy enough gas to get the back and forth to the kids' school, and it does, happen that way. And it's so, not easy, I think is the best way to say it, to realize that, even though I'm in a really bad spot right now, that, if you can just keep your eye on the goal and just keep chipping away at it, regardless of, the torpedoes that are coming at you, that you will get to that peak, and it will come, and it will come faster the faster you keep moving towards it.
Yeah, but and so for the person that's in that right now, they may be saying, yeah, right, that's easy for you to say. What I can say is, since I've been there too, when the time comes, you will wake up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And
you will wake up, and just hang on, because it will happen. It has
and
to.
It does get better.
Yeah.
If you can keep at it, just a little bit longer, just keep swimming a la Dory, it does get better.
It does.
And, if I could say that just one thing, goal setting, and just keep your eye on that ball and just keep going for it. It's amazing how you can make things that you never thought achievable happen. I mean, who would have ever thought 52,000 members in this Facebook group?
I know.
It's
awesome.
Nuts.
Awesome.
It's crazy. I've been told plenty of times, people think that I went for size. I'm like, the first 500 people, yeah, sure, I was struggling to get people into the group. And then after that, it just I was like, holy cow. Not sure what happened there.
Good value, good content. People notice.
Well, thank you. But it just proves that, sometimes if you just keep chugging at it, even when you're like going, well, what the hell, guys? What?
Yeah. I mean, I'll post something in a group and have crickets, and then I'll post the same thing out on my wall and have like a litany of conversation. I just don't figure it out sometimes, right?
Right. And it's not that people don't see you. It just may be that the timing was bad, or, people just weren't quite ready to answer you at that point in time. Or you happen to ask the question at a point where, Facebook and its infinite algorithms didn't show it to everybody.
Right.
And I mean, I wouldn't even assume that that's, an energy block or a vibration issue or anything else, because
no.
I see people get so frustrated day in, day out. I hear it from my clients every day. Well, why isn't anybody commenting on this? Is it energetic? And I'm like, probably not. Mm-hmm. Probably just the way things lined up that had nothing to do with you. Just keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. So I posted the link down below to your Facebook group, and
thank you.
You are doing a little challenge next week. Would you like to tell us what that challenge is?
I would love to. Thank you for asking. So I created a group called One Woman's Voice. And I will tell you this, that all my life, whenever I was always outspoken, And all I ever heard was, keep your mouth shut, Leslie. Nobody wants to hear from you. You're outspoken, opinionated, etc. Well, it wasn't until I was in my 60s that I realized that I am the voice for those who have not found their voice yet. So are many of you. So in one woman's voice, it's not political, it's thought leadership. Women who really want to grow their business, support and trust one another, provide excellent content, and lift each other up. And for those who don't have their voice yet, allow them to learn to express their voice. And for those of us who do, to help them with that. So on Monday next week, I'm doing a 5-day Women's Thought Leader Challenge. And each day, it's going to be 5 minutes at 12:30 on Facebook Live starting on Monday. And each day, we're going to look into what's the big deal about setting goals. I'm going to show you the art of setting a goal that you will actually achieve and that you can repeat consistently, to the point that you will get it on a cellular level. That is, you'll never have to think again, well, is this a good goal? Is that a good goal? Why isn't this goal coming true? What did I do wrong? So not only will you learn the art of setting a goal based on Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which is the goal-setting New Testament, or the only testament to goal setting, because that book is the only compilation of what successful people have done for thousands of years to achieve consistently. So you'll learn those benchmarks and you'll test yourself, and it'll be fun. It'll come to you on a cellular level, and then based on that, on the last day, we will set your next quarter's intention or your goal for the next quarter based on all that. So in 5 days, you will learn everything that I've learned since 2008 about setting goals, and then you'll be able to use it to influence your own outcome. So I invite you to come on over. It's One Woman's Voice, and it's a group. Haley's put the link in there. Ask to join. I'm not gonna tag you to be in the group or automatically have you join. This is something you would want to do, right? And so we'd love to have you. There's an amazing group of women there. Haley's one of them. So love to have you.
And I'm so glad to be in there. It's really fun getting to experience the dynamics and the personalities in each of the different groups and the different focus, right? Because my focus is really on marketing and sales and operations. And that is not your focus at all.
No,
and, and it's important to note, I am, here to help people grow their businesses and to provide resources. And Leslie is one of those people that I consider to be one of my go-to resources. So, if you are thinking about, mindset or, how to get better pay and how to set goals and all that kind of thing, Leslie is your woman.
Thank you. That's very lovely. Thank you, Haley.
Well, thank you. So I hope everybody has a fantastic evening. Thank you for coming on with me tonight.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
This was really good. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely.
We'll see what the women say in the network, right? We'll see if you find value, let us know. Let us by commenting or liking so we can see. I don't get to see the bubbles, but I think Haley can see them.
I did. I've been sending you the comments as we've been getting them. Everybody's been a little bit quiet tonight, but we have had people consistently viewing, so it's been pretty awesome.
So let us know if this was good and if you want to hear more. Thank you.
Let us know your questions. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.